Hola, hola, hola.
¿Cómo estás?
Bienvenido. Muy bien. ¿Y tú?
Muy bien, gracias.
Good, good, good. Bien, bien. Bienvenido, bienvenido. Welcome, welcome to Savvy Soldier Abroad. And I have a wonderful guest with me today. Her name is Sunya Folayan. She is the owner of Mind and Manna. Make sure you check out her YouTube channel. Today, we are going to talk about countering hustle and grind. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, okay, what is that about? And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're actually going to define that and identify what it should look like in your individual lives. But before we get started, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. That way, whenever video is up and coming from Savvy Soldier Abroad, you'll be one of the first to know. And it doesn't cost you a thing. So take a moment and go ahead and subscribe. And I want to thank all of my subscribers for helping me get to a major landmark for myself, which is over 500 subs. So I have 2 out of 3 elements that I need for this channel to be successful. But I am really grateful that you guys are watching, you're commenting, you're sharing. And if I can be of any more service than I already am, please leave comments. Get in contact with me. I want to hear from you. So before we go any further, I would really like for Sonia to introduce herself, and then we're going to get this party started.
Great, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I'm Sunya Folayan, and I actually am Savvy Souljar's business partner. I'm a resident of Charlotte, North Carolina, and also Chapala, Mexico. And I've been in Mexico for 3.5 years now. I met Savvy online through an Exodus Summit experience, which was an event to assist Black women in moving abroad, who are thinking about moving abroad. And I actually had come to Mexico because I came here on an artist's sabbatical, a residency. And that experience changed my whole life. So I do want to talk about that in a few moments. But I help women 55 and older who are interested in a more intentional lifestyle that includes freedom, rest, um, financial options, financial freedom, and ease. Not ease, not just ease, because there's a balance. But it's important that we live, I think, as Black women, that we live softer lives, and so I'm all for that. And so that's why today we're going to talk a little bit about countering hustle and grind culture. Um, so yeah, that's what I want to say. Please,
Okay,
as
okay.
as Savvy said, please, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do. I'm at Mind and Manna on YouTube. I have a follower goal as well. So all of your likes, your comments, your conversations, your subscriptions, they really do help us to grow our channels. And those are goals that both of us have.
Absolutely. You know, Sonia, you say counter the hustle and grind mindset. What exactly does that mean? Because ever since I can remember, um, from high school, probably even before high school, I've always been told, when you grow up, what do you want to be? Ask that question. What do you want to be when you grow up? And then once you start getting to that area of adulthood, there always been the idea that you should go to work and work hard and, make sure that you get a good job, you do a good job. And it's just always been that hustle and grind, nose to the ground kind of a mindset. And so, you use the word balance. I now use the word harmony. How how do you counter that? How do we get that out of our DNA, out of our I mean, it's ingrained in us. I know
It
for me,
is.
I'm a recovering workaholic, so it's just been something that's been ingrained. And how do you do that without feeling lazy?
Well, I think the first thing is for us to really understand what it is, and it is that constant. It's that societal push that you said. Yes, it is it has been ingrained in our DNA as Black people for sure. But it's the idea of constantly pushing, working hard, um, oftentimes going beyond our endurance, um, the constant striving to be seen, to have our efforts being, be considered worthy. Um,
Mhm.
the the prioritization of productivity over everything else, um, and tying our worth, our self worth, to that. Also, it's never being satisfied, always wanting to strive to have more, 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 more. And it's a never-ending cycle that unless we break it, we'll just be on that treadmill forever. And capitalism does fuel it. Capitalism needs us to be on those hamster wheels to make money for the elite, and we're often left bereft and dry and
Mhm.
tired, um, and with not enough energy even for ourselves or for our family. So balance is really important.
That is so true. That is so true. I know that this weekend I was reminded via a scripture that talks about, it was Proverbs 14:23. It says, work brings profit. So there is some work that we need to do,
Hmm.
but how do we identify what we want to do from what somebody else is pressuring us to do?
Hmm. And we're I mean, like we've said, uh, uh, um, a balance is important. But I also think that hustle and grind culture is really it's really embedded us for a number of reasons. I wanted to share a couple of them.
Okay.
um, as Black women in particular, and as Black people who, there is a legacy of slavery, there's a legacy of unpaid labor, there's a legacy of exploiting our time, our energy, our resources. That actually is sort of built in. It's built into the system. Um, but we have a historical a legacy of resilience. We've had to work tirelessly to survive and to thrive in spite of everything. We've
Mhm.
often we It was even expected of us to leave our children behind, or to take our children with us in the field to work, or to not have any time off, or to value the time of our employers over our own families.
Right, right.
That's been an expectation. And also, I think society expects us to be strong and to be resilient and to be the ones that can always be counted on, to be the moral compass. All that takes its toll. The other thing is, oftentimes, because of the way society is set up, oftentimes because our men have not always been afforded the opportunities that they deserve, we've had to take up the slack in terms of that.
Mhm.
Um, Also, you know, um, living under white supremacy oftentimes puts a lot of stress on our marriages.
Yeah.
Sometimes our marriages don't last, and we end up being single household carriers.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes the financial realities of just being able to stay afloat require us to work extra hard.
Mhm.
And then there's the whole cultural narrative that we've talked about of the strong Black woman. That trope continues to perpetuate, and to some degree we live up to that. But I think, taking off that superwoman coat requires some work. It requires some grounding and some thinking and some reflection in terms of what it is that we really want, because we're always expected to push through adversity and come out on top. And
Mhm.
sometimes that's hard work. It's hard. It takes a toll on us. So I think the expectations that are on us they can be empowering. I mean, you know, being known for our resilience and being able to
Mhm.
model that for our children, and to know that that we have fought for everyone and we've made some strides. I mean, there's something very empowering about that, but it's also debilitating at the same time.
Yes, yes. Especially if you don't have that harmony that's needed in your life to to do the things that you want, which is in some cases is going to be a type of work, but not to build somebody else's dynasty, not to um, fulfill somebody else's agenda. We need to be more mindful of what it is that we want. What do we want our legacy to be for our children and our children's children, and not lending ourselves and giving of ourselves to the point, like you said, that we don't have enough left energy wise to take care of ourselves, to take care of our loved ones.
Well, I think also too, just in my own life, um, I had to kind of step away from the hamster wheel to realize the depths of how much I was on it.
Hmm.
But I know for me, it was, um, you know, degrees and, certifications. And I mean, I have so many degrees. I've written so many papers, you know, maybe this is going to be enough. Maybe, oh my goodness, you know, I fortunately, I had always allowed myself to take some time off. Um, and I've
Hmm.
always had some spaces of my own because I thought that was always important to model that for my daughters.
Uh-huh.
But it wasn't until I actually took extended time off what I normally would take off, that
Hmm.
I began that I got unhooked and really could see really the damage, to be honest, that I was confronted with. Um, and I know for many of us, it's just like, that extra degree, or that extra promotion, or I'll work these extra hours, or I'll do more volunteering. I'll,
Hmm.
whatever it is that I need to do. Um, but at some point we have to look at that to see, is it really benefiting us?
Right.
Um, and is it being detrimental to our families?
That's true. That's true. I remember, like you, always going for the next certification or the next degree. I mean, how many coaching certifications do you really need?
Right.
Um, when the last I counted, I had 12. I'm like, what? And it came with the program that I was in. But then the degree in family life education, the nursing license, and had even considered going back to school for another degree. Still thinking about going back to school because I want my seminary licensure or certification. I'm not exactly sure what, but I just know it's something that I've always wanted to do. And so now in my latter years, I feel that I can do that at my own pace because I'm not punching a 9 to 5, or in some
Hmm.
cases, in the nursing field, it was that 7 to 7, 12-hour
Hmm.
shifts. They went to 12-hour shifts and then mandatory overtime. So I don't have that glaring at me in the face. But even in my resignation to work in a traditional job, because I don't like to use the word the retirement. I just hate the connotation that comes with that. So I use the term resignation. So I resigned from my professional job and moved down here to Chapala to do what it is I genuinely want to do. But it's not without some degree of work.
Hmm.
There's research that goes into it. There's collaboration that goes into it. And so that scripture that talks about work brings profit is appropriate for that, because
Hmm.
I'm doing something that I believe I am is part of my destiny, is part of my purpose, part of my ministry, and so part of my business. So that that enterprising gene is there, wanting to do things. But like our title says, we have to we have to look at it at a different way, in a different way. so that we don't do overwhelmed. We don't do worn out. We don't do tired, exhausted.
Well, I think also there's a distinction also. Um, it's one thing to put in time and effort to build up someone else's empire,
Mhm.
to make someone else's family wealthy.
Right.
It's another thing to put in the time and effort that I need, that goes into my own family, to my own,
Mhm.
for the legacy I choose to leave for my children, my grandchildren. Um, fortunately, I haven't worked for a boss for over 30 years. I've worked for myself. But even with that, there's balance that's required. And I think the thing that we really have to talk about in terms of countering hustle and grind culture is rest. And why
Yes.
rest for us, particularly as Black people, as brown people, as Black women, rest is revolutionary because of some of those other things that we talked about a few moments ago: the cultural
Yes.
expectations, the societal
Mhm.
expectations, the hamster wheel that capitalism requires of us,
Mhm.
the fact that we've got ongoing inflation,
Oh,
and
yes.
that many of us did not learn or understand the importance of residual income. We
Mhm.
only learned about working for pay. We didn't
Right.
learn that our dollars should be working for us. And the truth of the matter is, everybody doesn't work hard. Everybody
That's
does
true.
not work hard. There's a
That is
lot of
true.
wealth that's being made, and people are not working hard for it. So I think as we learn to put those systems in place for us, it also gives us more space to rest.
Mhm.
And I wanted to say that rest can provide us resistance to systemic oppression. It's a radical act of resistance against those systems that work against us, that take and suck our time and our energy,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
and our
Wow.
resources dry. Um, as Black women, we have historically been exploited.
Mm.
Our ideas have been stolen. All of that costs money. All that keeps us poor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why rest is important. It's also important that we reclaim our time and energy, just as we've been talking about. You know, rest is not being lazy, it's recharging our bodies, it's recharging our minds, it's recharging our brains, it's giving us the renewal that we need to continue. It also
Mhm.
makes us better people. We have more tolerance, we have more opportunities to be creative if we're rested. And I think the other thing for us as Black women is, we've been socialized on some level to prioritize the needs of other people before our own.
Mhm.
That
Right.
whole sacrificial thing has been
Mhm.
something that we've been brought up with that. So to be able to reclaim our own time and our energy it's just it's a part of what we have to do to counter
Right.
other messages.
I agree. I agree 100%. So, Sonia, what are some ways that we can rest?
Well, I think we need to ask ourselves, what does rest mean to us?
Mhm.
What does it mean? What does it mean? What does that look like? It's going to vary for other, between us. It might mean delegating some tasks. It might mean saying no to certain things. Um, it might mean not taking on that extra volunteer opportunity. You know, um, because doers get things done. Doers get things done. Leaders get
Yes, they
things
do.
done.
Yes, they do.
And doers and leaders are asked to do more doing and leading. So it may be, saying no to another opportunity
Mm.
to assist. For me, I take naps. I love to take naps. I take a nap every day. And I usually get out, and I always get out and do some walking every
Mhm.
day. And I do something creative for myself in the mornings. Um, I like what I'm doing. I like the businesses that I'm creating, that I'm a part of. I get great joy from that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it is important that I spend some time doing creative things for myself, where I'm off the clock, or where I'm allowing my creativity to flow. Um, so those are some things. How are you defining and looking at rest?
Well, I know I believe in siestas. I generally take one. I do set aside some time to even escape and maybe watch a movie, or like we did last week, go to the movies with a group of women to watch something meaningful and then having conversation about it. I'm involved with groups here in Chapala that twice a week we get together and have a meal, maybe drinks, and play a game of Think and Train, just to laugh. I mean, I remember when I was working, there was not a lot of laughter,
Yeah,
especially as an administrator. You are often faced with difficult tasks to deal with difficult individuals about difficult situations. So to not have that issue anymore is really helpful for me. I love spa days. I love our upcoming retreat that we're going to be having in September, where you set aside a designated amount of time to focus on understanding what rest is, to look at better ways to manage money, because if you've got sufficient income to meet your needs, that's one worry that's not going to zap your energy. You can rest in knowing that the bills are going to be paid on time, in advance, and you're in a position to bless other individuals if you choose to do so. So, you know, going to seminars. I enjoy going to seminars where I'm getting knowledge. I'm a lifelong learner, or forever learner. So doing
yes.
things like that bring me joy, and it gives me an opportunity to just receive, to be on the receiving end. I love travel. I enjoy going different places and seeing different things from different perspectives. So all of those type of things are things that I do that will allow me to rest. But I gotta agree with you. Siestas is one of my favorite ones.
Naps are the bomb. I did not understand what was so great about it. In kindergarten, I never took a nap. I was always the one with my eyes open while everybody else was on their mats. But my mother enjoyed a good nap. I could never understand what was so great about it, but I understand now. I really
Yeah,
understand now. I
yes.
really do. I think the other thing that I want to say that I think we have to cultivate is more space for our imagination,
Oh yeah.
more space to dream, more space to hold space for our futures.
Mm-hmm.
Um, more space to imagine what we would like to see, how we would like to see it.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're hustling and grinding, there's not a lot of space or time left to dream. So, and I think dreaming is extremely, extremely, extremely important for us at this time. Um, and to I think one of the things that I really like about the new culture that I live in most of the time now is
Mm-hmm.
how there is time to fellowship. There is time to support one another. There's time to check in on someone else
Mm-hmm.
without feeling, I can ask for help without
Right.
feeling,
Mm-hmm.
I'm stepping on someone's toes because everybody's so busy. Everybody's time is all
Yeah.
wound up. I think it's important to be able to break bread together as we do here, to
Yes.
have walks together, to have conversation nights, to get together to play and have fun. I mean, these are very, very, very important
Mm-hmm.
aspects to rest, and collective rest is important.
Yes.
How do we spend that time together? We talk a lot about the time that we spend with women. There are men here, of course, too, of course, but there's something very special about the sisterhood camaraderie
Yes.
that
Yeah.
does provide some other strength and additional resources.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree 100%. I love that not all of us have cars, but we've got a couple of sisters with cars, and they are so willing, to invite us in to to go different places outside of the city of Chapala, Jalisco, Mexico, so we can go a little further away, and like you said, enjoy the camaraderie, the talking, the laughter, the fellowship, the eating when we get to certain destinations.
It's that is just that's so important. That is so important. Um, uh, that camaraderie is it's very special. Some of our sisters have lost partners.
Yeah.
Some have gone through illnesses, but it's just been so wonderful to see how the community comes together. And the 2 hour or the 3 hour coffee break is common here. It's common to
Yes.
spend three
Yes.
hours, having coffee. Um, I will probably be working as long as I'm on the planet, but I am enjoying what I'm doing. I'm enjoying it under my own auspices and God's, of course. But I know for me this year, I have honed it down to a pretty much a 3-day work week,
Mm-hmm.
um, with some exceptions if I've got projects. But 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, having Monday as my admin day. That has been very helpful to me to be able to set those kind of parameters and
Mm-hmm.
boundaries in terms of my time. And I was a career volunteer for many years, and I can honestly say that chapter in my life is closed.
Oh boy. I still volunteer, but only for 3 hours a week. I volunteer 3 hours a week. And it comes with benefits, but I do enjoy doing that. It gets me out of the house. It gets me in a position to meet new people. As a matter of fact, in doing that, I just added a new customer to one of my businesses just because I was out and about
Yeah,
volunteering. So sometimes it has its advantages, but like you, I'm no longer a habitual
yeah,
volunteer or an addictive volunteer
right.
because I remember the day, boy, oh boy. I mean, every day there was something that needed to be done for somebody else, and there, other than being blessed, of God, there was no monetary um, gain in doing
Yeah.
that. And so, yeah, yeah, I agree. At some point, that season does pass.
Yeah, and and I mean, you know me. I mean, there are always going to be some things I'm going to do, but there are things that I feel led to do.
Mm-hmm.
But that whole thing of expecting me to do, and
Right,
taking
right.
advantage of my time, and stealing my ideas, that
Oh
is
my
just
gosh.
that's I'm just that I'm over. That's over.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is that part is done. That's I mean, I just know better. I know better now. And so,
exactly,
when you know better, you do better.
exactly, absolutely. So, Sonia, now tell us what who is Sonia? What is she doing? What does the next year or 5 years look like for you concerning the dynasty that is already in place that you're doing?
Well, I really am looking forward to seeing our bed and breakfast continue to grow, and the artist residency program that I have started. I'm really excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm looking forward to some travel with my grandchildren. Um, and I think also, as an artist, artists are always growing and developing. So I'm adding
Mm-hmm.
some new layers to my artistic practice. I'm adding some a layer of dance to it.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, I am. I've started my flute again, just for myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I like, I'm taking a dance class, and it's all in Spanish, so it's given me another chance to learn, and to figure things out, to figure out the body language, with the steps. It's a good thing, and I really am looking forward to having my first art show here in Mexico next year.
Oh,
Um,
awesome.
yeah. Um, so it's an exciting time. I remain open to what's to come. I I'm looking forward to connecting, with more creatives here in Mexico, and
Mm-hmm.
really using my gifts really to serve others in ways that I believe, I'm led to do so.
That is amazing. That is good. That is good. I know I see you busy, busy, all the time. I see you taking naps too.
Yes.
And I appreciate that. But I really am just inspired by how diligent you are and committed to your dream. That amazes me about you. I am glad to be partnered with you for the bed and breakfast, and then also for our Jumpstart Your SOULjourn 2.5 this fall. I think it's going to be at a whole different level, especially with your love and your involvement in the dance, the cultural dance here, and
Yeah.
having that be a part of the Jumpstart Your Soldier. Okay, guys, the noise you hear, we're in Mexico. There's some construction going on, so we apologize for the what you may call noise. We call it music here in
Right.
here
It's
in, here in Chapala.
it's just another character of our broadcasts.
Yes, absolutely,
But
absolutely.
I am so excited about this retreat because our theme for this retreat is, yes, sister, rest. We're really diving into rest this year, um, and really, we are really wanting to get a deep dive into that whole productivity mindset that we've bought into. One of the beautiful women in our last retreat made a comment. She said, I'm just not going to just sit around, and I'm not going to I'm never going to just sit and just do nothing. I mean, I always have to be doing something. And I said, oh, really? Really now? And one of the most gratifying things to me was at the end of the retreat, she said, I really had to think about that, and really had to flip that idea on its head, because we get trapped in that.
Yes,
We get trapped in that. Um, but I think each one of our retreats has been better than the next. We just continue to evolve and grow and expand. Um, but yeah, we're really going to take a deep dive into that. And also, we really are setting aside some time this year for dreaming and imagination,
yes,
for
so important,
creativity, for color,
so
for
important.
movement.
Yes,
It's important to get unhooked from our regular routine, to be able to see and feel something different.
exactly, exactly. I love it. I love it. I love it. To be able to do something we enjoy and at the end of it not be exhausted and needing to go and hibernate for 3 days.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think it's important. We've learned a lot with these retreats, and for ourselves, how we can keep our own stamina up. And
Yes.
um, it's exciting. It's exciting for me. The transformation is exciting to me.
Mm-hmm.
The transformation that we see in the women that come, what they're able to glean from it, and the friendships that form
Yes.
as a
Yes.
result of coming to our retreats. Ours is September 19th through 2025. So reach out to either of us to get more information. We would love to have you, if you are sincere about getting off the treadmill, living a softer life with more intention,
Yes.
and really examining, incorporating a new level of rest, and a collective sense of rest for our community, then we really would love for you to come with us.
So we will put the link in the description of both of our channels, so that you can go directly in and see what we're going to be offering. We currently are in the early early registration phase.
Mm-hmm.
So just we're just tell us what you prefer. I know that the single bungalows are going fast. So if you're somebody that needs that solitude and you don't want to share a bungalow, you want to hurry up and register, because there's only a limited number of single bungalows. The rest will be doubles, which is not bad. Those double bungalows are really, really nice. Each individual has their own individual room, and then you have the community area of the kitchen and the living room and the dining area.
And
And
you have your own individual bathroom.
yes, your own individual bathrooms are come with the double bungalows. So either one is going to be a fabulous resting place. But some individuals really, really need a single. So if that's you, get
Yeah.
your registration in early.
And we've got some great chef prepared meals. We've got some surprises this time. So yeah, please let us know. We'd love to have you.
All right. Sonia, anything before we close out?
No, just thank you so much for watching. Please do follow us and subscribe. That's one way that you can really support us. Let people know about us. Um, if you can't come to our retreat, let people know about it and start thinking about and prioritizing rest. Rest as a remedy, rest as a revolutionary thing. Rest is not being lazy, it's something that we really need in order to thrive.
Absolutely. Okay, I am Savvy D. Jones, the co-living diva and hope coach, coming to you live from Chapala, Jalisco, Mexico. It's been, as our boy would say, a plum pleasing pleasure to have served you today, and we look forward to seeing you in the near future. Until next time, be well, live free, and prosper.
Good night.